Hi, this is the voice of your teacher, Barbara Rademacher. This is our very first problem of the homework set in your new semester, in your new book. This is called an evaluation problem. And in an evaluation problem, we're told what the letters equal. And what we have to do is substitute those numbers for the letters, which are really called variables, in the expression. This is not an equation, it's an expression. We'll compare those when we start working on equations. But this is definitely an expression. Because it doesn't equal anything, it just sits there. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. Since A equals 5, I put a 5 in for A, and since B equals 3, I'm going to put a 3 in for B, and I'm going to rewrite my expression like this. 5 parentheses 5 plus 7 plus, bear with me, -6 times 3. I did that because when you subtract a positive number, it's the same thing as adding a negative number. And this is the way you have to start thinking. Okay, you'll find out why. Just bear with me now. We're going to talk for a minute, kind of take a commercial break, and talk about order of operations. We're talking about the operations on numbers. And a way to remember this is Pemdas. Some people say, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Aunt Sally must be very embarrassing. Anyway, what P stands for is parentheses, and what that means for us right now is that we have to work in the parentheses first. I have to add 5 plus 7, which is 12. And so here we go. Originally, I had 5 times 5 plus 7 plus -6 times +3. And what that equals is 5 times 12 plus -6 times +3. Now we have to look back at Pemdas again. The M and the D, multiplication and division, come before the A and the S, addition and subtraction. What that means for us is that this addition will come after I multiply the 5 times the 12 and the -6 times the +3. So my next step is to write this as 5 times 12, which is 60, plus -6 times +3, which is -18. And we usually put negative numbers in parentheses. Well, 60 plus -18, you can throw that in your calculator or do it by hand. It's going to equal +42. And that's how you do this problem. Once your variables, your letters, are gone, and you're working only with numbers, as we are here, 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 you have to use order of operations to make sure you don't perform an operation in the wrong order. Okay, let's go on. Now we're going to evaluate this polynomial, which is 3x squared minus 4x plus 4. And before we do anything else, I'm going to put parentheses around the -7. Always put parentheses around negative numbers. And I'm going to rewrite this polynomial as 3x squared plus -7. Nope. -4x plus 4. Always rewrite your polynomials this way. We want to add, we do not want to subtract. Okay, -7 is what x equals. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to substitute -7 in parentheses for x. 3 times -7 to the second power plus -4 times -7 plus 4. Now the power 2 means that -7 is going to be multiplied by itself twice. So that what we have here is 3 times -7 times -7 plus -4 times -7 plus 4. Now remember, we always multiply before we add, so these pluses are going to come last. This will be 3 times 49. -4 times -7 is positive 28 plus 4. Now let's see. 3 times 9 is 27. Carry the 2. 3 times 4 is 12. Plus 2 is 14. So we'll have 147 plus 28 plus 4 is going to be 32. We add 147 plus 32. 7 plus 2 is 9. 4 plus 3 is 7. Bring down the 1. And there's our answer, 179. Another way to do this would have been to come over to the side and multiply -7 times -7 first. Because if we're working with Pemdas, first we would work in parentheses if there had been any. Then we would work with exponents. And now there is one. So the very first thing I should have done, and this is correct the way I did this, but a much fancier Pemdas-y way of doing it would have been to work with the exponent first and said, okay, now -7 squared is -7 times -7, which is positive 49. So I would have had 3 times 49 plus -4 times -7 plus 4. So I would have had 147 plus 28 plus 4, and I would end up with the same answer, 179. And that's how you evaluate expressions.